Hello, dear students. Felt like discussing an important poem with you, and that is Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Pablo Neruda is a pen name of Neftali Ricardo Rives, who wrote in a variety of styles. Keeping Quiet was originally written in Spanish. The poet Pablo Neruda wants to convey the message of universal brotherhood, peace, and harmony through this poem. You must be thinking why I have chosen third poem in the book Flamingo instead of picking first one. Means this is the third poem. It seems like it is written for today's world. I can promptly align these lyrics with today's conditions of the citizens of the world. Before this lockdown, we didn't have time to think or introspect. But see how it happened. So students, this poem deals with the very important theme, the theme of introspection. The poet here discusses the importance, the introspection that is very important for a human being. That's why he says, now we'll count to 12. As the first stanza, it says, and now we'll count to 12 and we'll all keep still. The poet says, he'll count. He addresses everyone in the sense, all the citizens of the world. He addresses everyone and says, we'll count to 12. What is this number 12? He is referring to the hours of the day and maybe the months of the year. He wants all of us to be quiet as he says, now we'll count to 12 and we'll all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. He wants to say on the face of the earth, means on the face of the earth the world is living. All the citizens of this world are living on this earth. So he is addressing everyone to be quiet and not move our arms so much, not to do any work, to be still, to be calm, to be silent, and not to speak any language. Why? Because the poet knows that the language creates the barriers. So he wants all of us to kill all the barriers. There should be no difference among us, the people of the world. Then in the next stanza, he says, it would be an exotic moment. What is exotic here? Wonderful, attractive. When everybody will be quiet, when there will be silence all around in the world, this moment will be really exotic moment. Without any rush, without engines, without any rush. There won't be any rush. Nobody will be running for the work. Nobody will be running to get anything. They will be quiet. They will be still. Without any engines. If the people won't be running here and there, if they are not in hurry, the engines won't move. The engines means the machines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. This will be really strange that everybody will be quiet, silent, not doing anything. So this will create a togetherness, a brotherhood. Everybody is in silence, just to introspect themselves. It's not to create silence in the world, to ask everybody to keep still without doing anything. No, it's the time to introspect. The poet wants all of us to introspect, to give some time to yourself to think all the things that we are doing, whether they are right or wrong, good or bad or what. We don't give ourselves the time to think over the things, whether we are doing right or wrong. In the next stanza, the poet says, fishermen in the old sea would not harm whales if everybody will be quiet. Everybody as the poet addresses, will be still, will be on rest. The fishermen who have the profession of killing whales, they also will sit quiet. They also will stop for that time being, they'll stop killing or harming the aquatic animals. And the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. The salt gatherers always hurt their hands. The people who work in the sea water, their hands are always hurt. There are cracks in their hands. Why they are hurting their hands? Because it's their profession. They are working. They have to work. Everybody has to work for the earning their living. They are doing that for the sake of their profession. But for this time being, when they'll look at their hurt hands, they'll think whether the thing we are doing, is it right or wrong? They'll be having time to introspect. Next stanza says, those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fires, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. Those who prepare green wars. Who prepare green wars? The wars with gas and fire. The people, see, every country here in the world is preparing themselves for the atomic war. All the countries know anytime there will be such situation, they may face such a situation where they need to be empowered atomically. So they all are preparing for the wars with fire and gas. They are preparing the atomic, the weapons. They also, and for what are they preparing? They are preparing for the victory with no survivors. There would be no survivors. Nobody will remain on this earth if these atomic weapons will be used by all the countries over each other. On whom will they use these? We'll use on some other country will use on some other country, so the world will be killed. They are preparing for such a victory that victory will not have any survivors. Nobody will remain on the earth if these weapons will be used. These people will also put on clean clothes. Clean clothes here, it points out the positivity. And walk about with their brothers. All the brothers of the world, all the citizens of the world, the poet is calling them the brothers. This is the lesson of brotherhood. In the shade, doing nothing. In the shade means a place where they'll feel comfort. Doing nothing. At that time, they won't be preparing for the wars. Next stanza says, what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Total inactivity actually is the death. When a human being can be totally inactive after the death only. So, the poet here, addressing everyone, all the citizens of the world, he says, what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. The poet says, I don't want everybody to understand me as I'm saying that you should be totally inactive. No, I don't want to say that. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. I don't want anyone to truck here means collide. The poet says he doesn't want anyone to truck with death. Means I don't want anyone to go in total inactivity. Because total inactivity is death only. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, agar aisa ho jaye, the poet says, if we were not so single-minded about what? The poet says we are single-minded about keeping our lives moving. We are running, we are rushing for our lives, earning the livings, earning the bread, earning the comforts of the life, giving our kids very comfortable life. Kids are running for studies. Parents are running for their kids. All this means the whole world is running. They are busy. So here the poet says, if we are not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, and once we can understand, if we can understand doing nothing, we contribute some of our time to introspect ourselves, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness. A huge silence that the poet is addressing here, is requesting everyone, that might interrupt this sadness of running our lives, the sadness of rushing, the sadness of not getting anything, of losing something. The sadness is of about materialism. We all are running after. We are running after accumulating money, accumulating knowledge, running here and there for this and that. This might interrupt this sadness if the huge silence. This huge silence is not actually the silence. This is the introspection, the time that you are giving to your mind. We give time to our body to take rest, but our mind is still thinking. So we are giving time to ourselves, to our mind to think over the things that we are doing, whether they are right or wrong. So the poet says, this huge silence that we are giving to introspection might interrupt this sadness, the sadness that we all have in our lives due to our emotions, due to our longings, our wishings, and of threatening ourselves with death. Sorry, I skipped one line, that is, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening our lives with death. Yes, we don't understand ourselves. We need to understand ourselves and we are threatening our lives with death. We are threatening our lives. Maybe I won't be there tomorrow, then what my kids will do, what my family will do. I have to do this, I have to do that. First, I have to accumulate so much of money for my kids. I have to do for my parents. I have to do for my wife, my kids. So all these things, we're doing all these things, we are threatening our lives. We would be died one day. Before that, we should do everything. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Perhaps the earth, the mother earth, it's teaching us a lesson. You must have seen the duration of winter season. You must have seen all the trees bare of their leaves. They shed the leaves. There's fog all around. It seems like the earth is taking rest. And sometimes it seems like the earth is dead. If nature is dead. Nature on the earth is dead. But actually nature is not dead at that time. Nature takes the time to introspect itself. So it's not the symbolism of death here. It's a symbolism of introspection that the earth do at that time. So now, and later proves to be alive. Yes, the earth during the winter season, it seems like it is dead. But later, there are leaves, there are flowers, there are fruits on the trees. The fog is not there. Clear sun is there. So it seems to be alive again. Now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I'll go. The poet here leaves the scene. See the imagery of this poem. The poet has created the scene in front of your eyes. As soon as you read this poem, line by line, you keep on reading this poem, you feel like there's an image created in front of your eyes. The things are moving in front of your eyes that he says. So he leaves this scene saying, now you count up to 12, means you introspect yourselves. And this introspection, the way to introspect, I told you, I made you to understand what to do, and now I'm leaving. So the poet at that time, making you understood through this imagery, and he leaves. I hope students, my dear students, you must have understood what is going on in the world these days. Negativity all around about this virus or whatsoever. But see, maybe this poem, whatever the wording this poem is having, somewhere I can connect it to the today's world. Try to understand human beings. Somewhere we have the connectivity. Human beings who are not taking care of their own. Human beings who are not taking care of their resources. Now they are sitting at Now they are sitting at home, doing nothing. It seems like the poet's wordings today today are proven true. So anyway, I hope you understood, students. Here we have some questions on the basis of this description. 4 questions I'm going to give you today, and these questions you'll be writing in your notebook, the homework notebook that you are writing in. The first question is, write all the poetic devices used in this poem. The second question, I repeat the first question, write all the poetic devices used in the poem. The second question is, why does the poet want all of the citizens of the world to keep still? Still means silence here. I repeat, why does the poet want all of the citizens of the world to keep still? Next question is, what is introspection? Why is introspection important for us? I repeat, the question is, what is introspection? Why is introspection important for us? The last question is, how will this huge silence help the human beings? I repeat the question, how will this huge silence help the human beings? I hope you must have learned something from this poem. You just have to compile whole of this, means the lessons that your teachers are compiling for you. You just have to accumulate this knowledge in this scenario where you are not meeting your teachers. We are trying our best to serve you at your home, to give you the best there at your home only, because if you come out, you are on the risk. Try to understand, stay home, stay safe. Thank you very much.